It is 7 o'clock on the East Coast. It is 4 o'clock on the West Coast. It is the 29th of August in the year of our Lord 2024, season 15, episode 8, 677 times you have been welcomed to the Clubhouse podcast, your one-stop shop for all things sports, entertainment, pop culture, and pro wrestling. Although we're going to be a little bit more focused, probably a lot more focused, on the first of those four this week in part 2 of our NFL preview. Welcome. My name is Rob. I am the executive producer of the Clubhouse podcast. And y'all get ready, because we're about to tell you, we're about to melt your brain. When I say we, it ain't just me, because I'm going to go chabooyah. There's 4. We're going to start over there.
The quad pucks.
I got it right, but my hand went out of the screen. My co-host and a man who's getting ready for his next adventure. He is Alex. Hey, man.
Oh, it's overdue. It's overdue, and the Meadows are calling, and I cannot wait to get home.
This show's going to be represented in that city twice in the next month.
Yes, it will.
Bottom of your screen below where I am is our special guest and a man who's now got, he's got fancy headphones on. From the 1334 show, a man who knows how to pick pro football teams. Our dude, Steven Zimmerman, is here. How you doing, brother?
But I don't know how to pick up how to fix my soundboard. So we're old school Zoom calling it with this microphone on the laptop.
Hey, you're here. That's what matters.
Did you try unplugging it and plugging it back in?
Yes, I asked my fiance and her cousins, same thing.
Caddy corner from me is the official fact checker of Sooner or Gator Productions. He's back after like a month off, and then now Alex will be off for 2 weeks. So for 1 week, we're skating at full strength. You may know him as Ig Bunu, but his mama named him Don Ford. I'm going to call him Don Ford. Welcome back, brother.
But, 4 weeks ago, I had to take a special trip somewhere. And then from there, I was helping the Fantastic Faith Ford take some swim lessons and stuff like that. So
Don was doing a little piece up, A-Town down.
Yeah, down. So I want to spend a few minutes later talking about the A-Town.
If we've got time, we may have to wait till next week, because last week we ran barely on time, but holy cow. But let's get into it before we get to our NFC preview extravaganza. I told you guys on social media earlier, hey, Russ, glad you're here. Huge announcement coming very soon, probably within the next 4 weeks. We are joining a new network. The show will be on the Sunset Lounge DFW network, co-founded, we could say, by DFW radio legend Mike Reiner. Alex and I actually had lunch with him today, and his partner, Becca, his business partner, Becca, who is got this new network. And Russ says he's still on cloud 9 from last Friday night. He's meeting people. Russ is meeting people. The show will be part of a new network. Also on this network, if you know the ticket, Michael Gruber or Groobs has a show there. We want to prepare you guys, because this is going to be a different kind of a deal. This show will be on Patreon. But the good news is, right now, we're going to keep the cost low. $5 a month. That's all we're asking. $5 a month. You'll be able to have access to all the shows on the Sunset Lounge. Right now, we're one of 3, so we're kind of on the ground floor. We're going to be promoting the link to that in our social media over the next few weeks. We're going to have a lot of brand new content to bring you guys. And for $5 a month, I mean, that's not bad. So over the next 4 weeks, we're going to start migrating our content over to this platform. We are very, very excited. We've got so much cool stuff planned for you guys that is going to blow your mind. And it's going to be awesome. We appreciate how much everybody's rode with us for almost 15 years. And we're a 15-year overnight success. But we're really excited on where we're going. We can't wait for you guys to ride with us. Tell everybody you know. Sunset Lounge DFW is where you're going to find it on Patreon. Get on board now because there's going to be some amazing content coming your way. Also, speaking of Mike Reiner, on his podcast, it's called, I just lost the name of it.
Your Dark Companion.
Your Dark Companion. He has a brand new episode up, and I believe it's on the free version with Kelly Kitchens, who made all this happen. They're talking about the It Came From Texas Film Festival that will be in Garland on the weekend of September 13th. There's so much cool stuff at this festival. I went to a media event last week for it. I learned that Garland is the hat capital of Texas. There are 3 different cowboy hat manufacturers in Garland. So, yeah, I learned that. And there's going to be one of the things I'm looking forward to is there is a documentary on the history of the State Fair of Texas. So I'm going to be checking that out. Friend of the show, Danny Gallagher, and his troupe, the Maki Horror Picture Show, will be closing the festival on Sunday night as I've seen the trailer for the movie they're doing. It's called Rocket Baby Rocket. It was filmed in Dallas. Oh, you guys are in for a treat after watching that trailer. Also going to be shown, there's some other great documentaries about films taking place in Texas. They will be featuring The Last Picture Show, which is a great film. And also Giant will be featured. There's going to be some great stuff at the It Came From Texas Film Festival. It's the 2nd annual. This year they focused more on Westerns. Don was there last year when they focused more on horror films. We cannot broadcast from that weekend because there's some schedule conflicts, but we want to support everything Kelly does because she's amazing. We are going to put the links up. Get those weekend passes. It's not that expensive, and there's going to be some great stuff happening in downtown Garland that weekend. All right, boys, let's get into Major League Baseball standings. In the AL East, the Toronto Blue Jays are 5 games below 500, and they're 13.5 back. This is Steven's division, and this division always fascinates me. They're 2 games back on Tampa. Tampa now 3 back on Boston, who had somebody technically play for 2 teams in one night, which is nutso. Boston now 7.
Great.
Yeah, 7.5 back on Baltimore. Baltimore's now 1 game back on the Yankees, who have lost 2 in a row. In the AL Central, the White Sox. Oh, dear God, put a pin in it. We'll just go straight to Detroit. Detroit is now 8.5 back. They're 5 back on the Twins. The Twins now 2.5 back on Kansas City. Kansas City, who blows a lead last night when they tried to sweep the Guardians. The Guardians now have a 1-game lead over them in the division. By the way, look at the Kansas City Royals since the All-Star break. It's a little nuts. But we're holding on. Steven had his hand up. What's up, brother?
Oh, no, I was messing with things.
Oh, okay, not a problem. In the AL West, now back in the toilet for them. The Angels are now 16.5 out. They're 3 behind the Oakland question marks, who is 5 back on the Rangers. The Rangers now 5 back on Seattle. Seattle is now 3.5 back on Houston. Texas is on a 3-game heater, the only team in that division that has won more than 1 game in a row. In the NL West, the Rockies are terrible. They're 30 games out of first place, and they're 35 under 500. They could still hit the century mark. They're 17 games back of San Francisco. The Giants now 9.5 back of the Padres. The Padres are a game back on Arizona, and the Dodgers have a 3.5 game lead over them. In the NL Central, Don, your Pittsburgh Pirates are in a free fall.
They always do after the All-Star break.
For the second week in a row.
Broke Livy Dunn. You broke Olivia Dunn.
62 and 71. So they will not hit the century mark, Don. That's good news.
Yeah.
But you're only a game and a half back on the Reds. Cincinnati now 3 back on St. Louis. St. Louis is a game back on the Cubs. The Cubs now 9.5 back on Milwaukee. And in the only division that matters, the NL East, the Marlins continue to be terrible. We're only 15 games away from the century mark. We are 6 games back on the Nationals. The Nationals now 9 back on the Mets. The Mets 3.5 back on Atlanta. Atlanta's won 3 in a row. Phillies lost 1, so we're only 5 games back there. Gentlemen, are you ready for North America's favorite game show?
Let's do it.
Ever.
What is the run differential for the Chicago White Sox? Hey, Mike. Mike's with us. Steven, you are our guest, so we will defer to you. What is the run differential for the Chicago White Sox, sir?
258.
258, Don.
Be rounding a number up. Let's do 275.
All right, Alex.
I won't do the Price is Right game. I won't do the Price is Right game.
Don't do the Price is Right game.
I want to do it so badly because I was thinking 275 before he said it.
You can agree with him. That's fine.
You know what? I'm going to do 285 just to dagger that further because we're getting to 300 with this team.
So, to be fair. Thank you. One of the things I'm going to be doing going forward is before I give any of the data, I want to give you the previous week's total. Last week, 1 week ago tonight, the Chicago White Sox had a run differential of minus 259. They have reached the century mark, kids. They are 31 and 104 right now.
Did you see they had 34 people at a game the other day?
And if you get close enough, they might ask you to play. They have a win percentage of 230. To help you put that in perspective, the team ahead of them, the Detroit Tigers, who they are currently 37 games behind, have a win total of a win percentage of 504. That is over double the win percentage for Chicago. To help you understand that number, they are 45 and a half games back of first place.
Imagine if they were in a good division.
They are 18 and 51 at home. They are 13 and 53 on the road. They are on a 7-game skid, 1-9 in their last 10.
Oh dear.
If we were playing Price is Right rules for the first time in a while, Alex would be out of it. The Chicago White Sox currently have a run differential of minus 282.
Don with the win.
Now,
oh, that's so bad.
They might beat our prediction of minus 300 by Sunday. But I'm saying there's a chance as badly as this team is playing.
How many games do they have between now and then?
Minus 282, bro.
That's
Let me look at their upcoming schedule since you've asked. Like I can't even. Minus there's no way they don't go bell to bell. So their upcoming schedule. They got swept by the Rangers. Tomorrow and Saturday, they are at home against your New York Mets.
Oh, we're going to ruin the fun.
That's a 3-game set through Sunday.
That was Steven choking on the Mets being spoken of.
Now, here's their next 6 after that.
Oh, no.
Starting on Labor Day, 3 at Baltimore. Then a day off. Then 3 at Boston. Then 3 at home versus Cleveland. That's their next 9 games after the Mets.
They're getting smoked.
Then the weekend of the 13th, they're at home versus the Oakland question marks. So there's a little bit of a reprieve because they've got 3 versus Oakland, but then they've got 3 at La. So they've got the bottom 2 of the AL West. Then they've got a day off. Then they're 3 at San Diego. Then a day off. Then they've got 3 with Law at home. And then they're at Detroit. They've got to hit. They've got to hit. They're going to hit minus 300. I'm going to say I'm saying they're there before the end of the Baltimore series. They might be there.
I was thinking next Tuesday.
They might be there on Labor Day.
Yeah, the Mets will find a way to screw up and lose a game to them by 6 in the middle of it, but that'll be what holds it to Tuesday.
I kind of want to see the Mets blow them out in one game just to try to get them there before Sunday.
Pete Alonso, 7 home runs in one game.
I mean, like, they're so close. They're so close. 18 runs. I'm just saying. All right. Hard Knocks of the Chicago Bears, episode 4. I'm assuming we're getting episode 5 because they didn't deal with the cuts. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming we're going to get that next week, and then we go right into the AFC North after that. Want to shout out Ian Wheeler. This is a kid. He tore his ACL in the final preseason game, but he's actually been accepted to med school.
So he can work on himself.
But they're basically going to redshirt him. So they didn't cut him. Wilbon was talking about it today. He said he's going to be watching this kid. He's wearing number 33. So he's, one shy of Walter Payton. They did a Ferris Bueller.
I apologize. What if I could go back? What was the White Sox, the number of losses they have right now?
104.
Okay.
103. 104. Already killed that tab. So
yeah, because the most losses in Major League Baseball, first was with the Cleveland Spiders of 134, and then secondly is the New York Mets of 62 of 120.
So
they might go into second place.
So they're saying there's a chance.
Well, interestingly enough, they do not acknowledge the Spiders in current regulations just because of how far back it was, and it was a barnstorming team. So the official Major League record is 120 for the Mets, and it's all we have left.
They did a sequence on Hard Knocks with 3 of the other 3 quarterbacks. They did like a Ferris Bueller thing where they went to the big tall building in Chicago and they stood out in the glass. That was kind of funny. Adrian Colbert, watch this kid. He had a great 4th preseason game. I like what he's doing. Caleb Williams saying he doesn't get nervous before a game and talking to the Chiefs, and they're like, wait till next weekend. They're like, we don't think you're going to get to that first regular season game. And that he's like, I don't get nervous. And I'm like, we'll call you basically. And Tyson Bagent, I'm also pulling for this kid. I'm still not falling for the rope-a-dope. I'm not falling for the Hard Knocks rope-a-dope. But there's some good kids on this team. I'm actually looking forward to see how they do. The only other headline that we're going to talk about right before we went on air, it broke. Brandon Ayuk does sign with the 49ers, 4 years, $120 million.
It's the wrong deal for them to get done before the season starts.
So we'll see how that works out. We're not going to talk about the final week of preseason because we want to get to our AFC, but we do want to talk about, because Alex will be out the next episode, maybe 2. But so we want to talk about week 1 in the NFL, which is why he's not going to be here. Opener next Thursday night on your NBC. Baltimore, Kansas City. Kansas City is giving 3. Steven. Over-under's 40.5. All right, I'm sorry. That's Sunday. Over-under's 46.5. I'm sorry. I was looking wrong.
Are we picking who's going to win this game?
Yep. And will you take Kansas City -3?
No, give me the Ravens. I think the Ravens have it. It's the Super Bowl hangover. It's always the start of the season. We saw it with Detroit last year.
I've always said that first game should be a rematch of the Super Bowl. That's just me.
Yeah.
Don.
I think the Ravens.
All right, Ravens plus the 3. Alex.
Yeah. It might be a sweep because Kansas City's still trying to figure out their new offense.
It is not. I'm going to take Kansas City minus the 3. We talked about this last week. It's not that I don't trust Baltimore. I trust the defending champs. You're champs till somebody tells you otherwise. Friday night, we have a game next week.
The dumbest game on the schedule.
we're going live to South America and two teams that can't wear their colors.
Exactly. Don, did you know about this?
We did talk about it a couple of months ago,
but I don't remember if Don was on the show.
What's the deal?
So literally,
So,
Green Bay and the Eagles have a primary color of green.
Uh-huh.
They booked a stadium in Sao Paulo that they essentially treat like the Bloods and the Crips. The home team is blue, and they acknowledge no green. No green is allowed. So let's put the two teams that have green as their primary color in that stadium.
Oh, dear God, no.
So I'm assuming that Green Bay will probably wear yellow.
They will be wearing their throwbacks, both teams, which, interestingly enough, are blue and yellow in various formats.
So right now, Philly giving 3. Don.
Philly. I think they want revenge from last year with their just end of the last half of the season blowout. I think they want to get revenge and get on the right track.
Alex?
I think Philly's going to be in a better position, and they're covering.
Steven?
I'm gonna go opposite. I'm gonna say the Cheeseheads do it. Surprisingly,
My gut tells me to take Green Bay plus the 3. There's some instability going on in Philly right now, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. Let's go to Sunday the 8th. We're going to start with your early games, noon Central. Don, your Steelers will go to a town you were just in. They open at Mercedes-Benz Stadium against the Falcons, and the Falcons are giving them 3.
I have beef against that stadium, by the way. I got to take my Steelers on that one. I'm mad at Atlanta in that stadium.
Mike says no, cheeseheads. But yeah, I know what Don's referring to. We can talk about it off air. Alex.
You know, that one's going to be close. I think Atlanta's still going to be figuring it out. Pittsburgh's defense keeps it close enough to cover.
Steven?
You heard me last week. I have the Steelers win the AFC North this year, so I'm going to have them win.
Give me Pittsburgh all day. Atlanta is in a tailspin, and it's not going to end anytime soon. I don't care who they've signed. Give me Pittsburgh all day. Buffalo hosting Arizona. Buffalo's giving them 6. Alex.
This is one of my favorite things to look for, and it's a West Coast team going east in the early set. They're going to be exhausted. They have no defense. Buffalo won't need to have figured it out to cover by more than a touchdown.
Steven.
What game are we doing?
Arizona at Buffalo. Buffalo giving 6.
Oh, and if you want the bitter Vikings fans checking in.
It's Buffalo.
Don. Yeah, give me Buffalo all day. Arizona's not going to. Buffalo's going to be tough, and it's Highmark Stadium. Let's see. Tennessee going to Chicago. Chicago's giving 4.5. Steven.
I'm actually going to go with Chicago, surprisingly.
All right. Don? Oh, you cut out there.
The Bears.
All right. Alex?
Hit me with what the line is and the matchup again, please.
Chicago minus 4.5.
And the matchup?
Tennessee at Soldier Stadium or Soldier Field for one more year or 2.
Yeah, Chicago all the credit is on their rookies and their incoming offense, but that defense is still legit, and Tennessee's offense is not. Give me the Bears.
That's a full sweep because I'm not falling for the rope-a-dope, but I agree
this
with
says more about Tennessee than it does Chicago.
Yeah. New England goes to Cincinnati. Cincinnati is giving them 9.5. Steven.
Ooh. Wait, who? Cincinnati? Who?
Cincinnati's giving New England 9.5.
Yeah, take that. Unless, you know what? No, I'm going to do this just to be controversial. I will take the Patriots, and they will win in overtime by a safety.
Don.
Wait, Zimmerman, I love you, but not. I gotta take the.
I thought we were all gonna go do the same thing, so I had to do something.
Yeah, I know.
the Patriots are going to be garbage, but I don't even know if Jamar Chase is going to be there, but T. Higgins will have a calendar day, a banner day. Give me Cincinnati.
Cody Burrow's going to have a great day too.
He has adrenaline in his soul.
Cincinnati, give me the 9.5 because this is not going to be fun to watch for either of these teams. And if you don't live in Cincinnati or New England or have the Sunday ticket, you're not watching a down of this game. And you might not have it in those towns. Houston goes to Indy. Houston giving 2.5. Don.
Houston.
Alex.
Yeah, I don't like agreeing that it's Houston, but Anthony Richardson may die in the first series.
Steven.
You know how I feel about Anthony Richardson. It'll take him half a season to throw a touchdown, and he might be doing it from like IR. So I'm going to go with Houston.
Indy's got a lot to prove to me. And I think 2.5 is generous. I think Houston runs all over them. Jacksonville goes to Joe Robbie Stadium. Miami is giving 3. Steven.
Oh, I'm wearing the shirt. I don't like Mike McDaniel, but I'm going to ride with the Dolphins.
Alex.
I actually think this game's going to be closer than people expect, but the Dolphins offense is going to be good enough and everybody's healthy to start the year. They're going to cover.
Don.
I'm going to take Miami.
It's a clean sweep. I can't wait to watch this team. I'm so excited.
I genuinely thought you were going to say a much higher number. I was all locked and loaded to say Jaguars, and then at 3, no.
Because I mean that's basically a pick 'em because you get 3. You give 3 for being at home.
Yeah.
Carolina goes to the Caesars Palace Superdome. Caesar salad. New Orleans is giving 4. Alex.
Carolina sucks. They're going to continue to suck. Give me New Orleans.
Steven.
They got rid of like the 2 good players they had. So, yeah, just give me New Orleans.
Don.
Same thing. Nola.
It's a divisional game. So for me, all bets are off. Give me Carolina. I just don't trust the Saints right now. Until they can show me otherwise, I do not trust New Orleans. Mike's Minnesota Vikings go to MetLife Stadium to play the New York Football Giants. Minnesota is giving a point. Don.
I'm going to take the Giants.
Steven.
Oh, man. To be honest, Alex, go. Let me think on this one first.
I'm going to let you think on this one. Allow me to say, J.J. McCarthy isn't hurt. I take Minnesota all day. With Sam Darnold back in MetLife, give me the Giants. Brian Burns is going to be in his kitchen all day.
All right, I guess I'll go Giants because I was just thinking of that Vikings defense and everything. I was just like, and
there's
also
nothing
my
to that defense anymore.
Hey, my home bar in Addison, TNT Sports page. I love y'all, and I know a bunch
Shout
of
out.
there. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm going with the Giants.
Yeah, that defense is Harrison Smith and a whole lot of replacement level.
You know what? Give me Minnesota. I like their offense. I just do. Justin Jefferson, let's go.
I got a fun stat on him later.
Let's get into the late game Sunday. The almost autumn wind is a raider. Las Vegas goes to Los Angeles Superchargers. Chargers giving 3.5. Steven.
Raiders.
Alex.
I hate that hook at the 3.5, but I'm still going Chargers.
Don.
Chargers too.
Give me Chargers minus 3.5.
I feel a lot better with it at 3, but 3.5 makes me think.
God,
that defensive front's going to eat on San Diego or Los Angeles, whatever they called this year.
Denver goes to Seattle. Seattle is giving them 5.5 as the Bo Nix era begins. Don.
Seattle.
Steven? Yeah, I guess Seattle.
Alex?
At 5.5, give me Denver. I think it's going to be one of those where it may be a late cover, but Seattle's putting in new systems as well. So 5.5, I feel, is too high.
That stadium, give me Seattle minus the 5.5. I think that there's just something about I don't want to play in that stadium. I just don't. Like if I'm the visiting team, give me Seattle minus 5.5. Cowboys go to Cleveland. Cleveland is giving them 2.5. Steven.
Oh, I think Cleveland. There's just so much disconfiguration and everything wrong with the Cowboys. So I'm going to ride with that defense in Cleveland.
Don.
I'm going to take Cleveland.
Alex.
I hate when we all agree. Yeah, Dallas should be able to cover this number, but they won't.
We don't agree. I want Dallas plus the 2. It's not that I trust Dallas. I trust Cleveland less.
That's a very valid point.
It just this team is going to continue to be in disarray because you're paying a quarterback $250 million 100% guaranteed. Like that, no.
Yeah. Cleveland may win this game 6-3.
Washington goes to Raymond James Stadium. Tampa Bay gives 3.5. Don.
Tampa Bay.
Steven.
I think it's going to be the one where Tampa sleepwalks into it. I might actually think Washington pulls this out.
Alex?
I agree with Steven. Washington looks like they're firing on all cylinders, and Tampa Bay still trying to figure out the loss of Dave Canales.
Again, divisional game. All bets are off. Can't bet.
They're not in the same division.
They're not in the same division.
Oh, that's right. NFC East, NFC South.
It's a conference game.
Yeah. I gotta sort of pick the wrong day to stop sniffing glue. I'll just give me my Buccaneers. I don't trust Washington either. You know? Sunday Night Football. The Rams go to Ford Field. Detroit giving 3.5. Alex.
Interestingly enough, this is a rematch where the Rams covered in the playoffs, and I feel like only Detroit got better. So give me the Cats.
All right. Steven?
I'm ready to bite kneecaps this season, so let's go Detroit.
I do love him. Don?
Detroit.
Give me Detroit as well. The Rams, they started to look a little bit better as the season went on, but I still don't think they know who they are yet. I think Detroit wins this game, and I think they win it by at least a touchdown. Monday Night Football. God bless you, NFL. The way you schedule things. Jets at Levi's Stadium. San Francisco currently giving 3.5. Steven.
49ers by 17.
Don.
49ers.
Alex.
You actually cut out for me. I didn't hear the line.
San Francisco giving 3.5.
This might be the craziest pick. I kind of think the Jets win.
Outright?
I kind of think the Jets win outright. And
They did last year.
But we talked about Brandon Ayuk getting his new deal, and I said that's the wrong deal for them to get done. Without Trent Williams, I think the Jets defense is going to eat.
I am not betting against San Francisco in this game. I think that it's going to take the Jets time, especially with Aaron Rodgers. I'm not ready to say the Jets can win this game, especially now that we got the Ayuk signing. They've made some moves in the offseason. San Francisco's going to win this game, and they're at home. This may not be fun to watch. I'm just saying. All right. We're probably going to run late, and I'm okay with it because sports took a little bit longer than it normally does this week. But I will defer to Alex, and Alex, we will go as long as you need to go, brother.
So what we're going to do a little bit differently, I have heard the cries in my DMs of more betting content. So what we're going to do is we are going to speed run the facts. We're going to go alphabetically by division. We're going to hit it in order of finish from last year. Now, I'm going to run through the facts. I'm going to clarify what bet I'm looking at, and then we're going to do the over-under. Gentlemen, do we understand?
It is your world. I am paying rent from his point forward in this episode.
I'm just here for snarky comments.
I hope Rhea can hear me. She said she'll listen later.
She's actually doing her show right now. So
I know. We talked.
So, we want to shout out to her show real quick before we get started because, plugs.
Pouring Takes. It's predominantly cowboy stuff. So if you like that kind of stuff and that misery, go for it. But it's a great show. They go from bar to bar, cocktails, sports, the whole thing. It's fun. So check it out on all platforms.
All right, let's go.
Well, speaking of Dallas Cowboys, that's who we kick off in the NFC East. So there's going to be a steep decline in the offensive line with a lot of lost starters, but they do have some solid people still there. Plus, they're going to have some turnover regression. The Dallas Cowboys are the only team in the NFL to have a better than +10 turnover rate over the last 3 seasons. It has happened 7 times in the last 30 years. The average rate on the 4th season for every one of those teams, +2. So their defense is not going to get as many turnovers, or it's not going to be as well with the turnovers as it has been the last few years. Now, the big problem that they have is despite having 31 more plays than every other team last year, Dallas's red zone TD percentage was trash. And part of that reason, and here's what's really fun. How many teams are in the NFL, Rob?
32.
Dak Prescott ranked 48th out of 48 on bad decision passes into coverage last year.
I heard
32nd.
I heard a very interesting stat earlier today. Joe Theismann was on Bob and Tom. You know how many quarterbacks started games last year in the NFL?
It's like 60 something because of all the injuries to the starters.
Yep. It was in the 60s because it was an average of almost 2 per. It was 65 because the average was just over 2 per team.
Because there was only like 7 all year long healthy quarterbacks. And surprisingly, Tua was one of those.
Yeah, that was a shocker.
Judo.
But 48 different quarterbacks threw double-digit passes, and Dak was the worst at throwing bad passes into coverage. But if you want a positive, and the bet I'm looking at for the Dallas Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb to lead the NFL in touchdowns. The man had 12 last season. At the end of week 6, he only had 1. So if you extrapolate every game and his stats after week 6, that's 17 touchdowns, and that would lead the league.
And he had the highest fantasy points of any player in the league last year.
Yes, he did. Well, he's the only one they got to throw to at this point, apparently. But the win total this year for the Dallas Cowboys is 9.5. Don, where do you got him at?
I'm going to say actually 8 on them with all the starters out.
Steven.
I'm flopping. I'm going to go 9 and 8. They're going to be under the thresh.
Rob.
They have the bye in week 7. They have a pretty weak schedule before the bye. They will get 4 of their 8 wins before the bye. Their last 2 opponents before the bye, or actually 3 of their last 4, are going to be tough, but they can pull one of these out because they're hosting Baltimore in week 3, at Pittsburgh in week 5, and then versus Detroit in week 6. But I agree with Don on 8. They're going to have a tough road to row after the bye. Their Thanksgiving Day will be hosting the Giants. And then they've got Sunday or Monday Night Football in the week after. So
peek to the Survivor contest. I'm already earmarking Dallas for Thanksgiving.
So yeah, I'm going with 8. I agree with Don.
I am shocked that I'm the only one that has them going over the number at 10. So next up, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. The biggest issue the Eagles are going to have to overcome is not Jason Kelsey's retirement and possibly killing the tush push because they had signed Saquon Barkley, who is their first running back who succeeds in short yardage since LeGarrette Blount.
Good Lord.
There's a name that hasn't popped in a while. It's been 7 years. Now, what they did struggle at was red zone play across the board on offense and defense. And they changed up their coordinators to 2 proven guys who know how to do that specifically in Vic Fangio on the defense and Kellen Moore on the offense. I think they're going to be a lot better than some people have been worried about with the rumblings about Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni not getting along. My crazier part with them, they only face a rest disadvantage once, and it is in week 3, and it is 1 day. I say that the Eagles are undefeated into November.
Wow.
And my betting line for them, based on the tush push dying, is the under on Jalen Hurts' rushing touchdowns at 10. So, Rob, I'm going to call you first on this one.
Sure.
At 10.5, how many wins do you have the Eagles?
They've got the bye in week 5, which means they've got to run a hard road after the bye. I think it's bold to say they're going to go into November undefeated because I've got them at 9. I think they stumble out of the gate. Because I talked about that earlier with Green Bay. Don.
What's the line again?
10.5.
I'm going to go 12.
Woo!
Steven.
I've already heard enough problems arising with that defense and Vic Fangio, just like it was in Miami. So I'm not surprised there. I don't trust Jalen Hurts long term. A lot of injuries on that offense too that can happen because a lot of people get hurt. Give me 10. But yeah, I don't trust them, I guess, the way you do. Like I still think they're the best out of that division, but I don't trust them.
Now, to clarify, I think that they might be undefeated until November. I would probably betting on it, but I do have them slowing down and finishing at 12 like Don does. Okay. Now, I already teased the first little note I have for the New York Football Giants to Don and Rob. So, Steven, this one's just for you and anybody watching. Danny Dumpster Fire sucks, and I can prove it mathematically.
Oh, you don't have to prove anything mathematically. We can just look with our eyes.
Yeah. The D-line is going to be great, but everything else is going to be trash on that defense. They're going to be giving up points, and there's no way they're going to be able to keep up. They will absolutely get hit with slant routes to death just to avoid that pass rush. Now, the one positive they have might be Malik Neighbors, who is an absolute freak athletic talent. And even if only half of his 197 targets are accurate, he's still going to go well over his yardage bet at 850.5. So, with a win total set at 6.5, Don, where do you got him?
I'm going to go 8.
Oh, Steven.
I'm going to have them right at 5.
Rob.
The advantage that New York can look at right now is they play the NFC South.
Mm-hmm.
They do get to host Tampa Bay before going to Dallas on Thanksgiving Day, which is also good for them because that Tampa Bay game's a noon game. So they get some time to rest. I'm still sitting at 5.
Interestingly enough, 3 of the 4 of us have them at 5 wins. Don, you are the outlier at 8. I appreciate your positivity. It's just misplaced. So, the last one we have in the NFC East, Washington Commanders, which I may refer to as the Commies in case anybody gets confused. Jaden Daniels is either going to break the rookie rushing record or be on our IR by week 5. The reason I say that is Cliff Kingsbury called 93 designed runs for rookie Kyler Murray, who is not as fast, looking like a toddler running with something in his mouth, in his rookie year, and Cliff Kingsbury is now the Washington Commanders offensive coordinator calling plays. There's going to be a lot of designed runs, and they're going to have to make Jaden Daniels throw it some to make them respect those run plays. They have 2 home games against weaker opponents that are negated by week-long rest disadvantages, which means there's a rest disadvantage of 6 or more days. So 2 of their home games are basically against teams that have 2 weeks to prepare for them. That's going to make it tougher. But with Jaden Daniels having to throw it in that same scope, I did not look up at his rushing numbers because there's a possibility he just gets his head taken off. So I like Terry McLaurin over 900.5 receiving yards because who else is going to catch the ball there? And don't say Luke McCaffrey. So win total at 6.5. Steven, where you got them?
I got them with 5 as well. I think they're going to be a team that's better in year 2. But this year it's going to be the feeling out process. But I really trust Jaden Daniels. I like how that team's constructed or bases, and then they'll be fine next year. But yeah, they're going to have 5 wins this year.
Rob.
Let's be clear on something. This year, the league hates the Commanders.
Sorry?
I said, let's be clear on something. This year, the league hates the Commanders.
Oh, I know the team they hate the most. And I have that later.
Did you see when their bye is?
Mm-hmm.
Week 13.
14.
Boy, is it 14?
Yeah.
Yeah. December 8th. I agree with Steven at 5, but they're going to get all 5 of them before the bye. This is a tough schedule. This is the kind of schedule that if Washington wants to show the world that they're a team to contend with, this is the schedule that will do it. You look at what they're coming out at Tampa Bay. Their only primetime game that isn't the league-required Thursday night game, which, by the way, is at Philly.
Yeah, that's
they've got Monday Night Football in Week 3 at Cincinnati. That's not going to be fun. Everything
I think that's going to be real fun.
I think Cincinnati gets beat with that.
I think they've got 4 games that aren't noon games. That shows you the faith the league has, but I agree with 5, and it's all going to be before the bye. They're going to play to finish.
All right. Don, how many wins do you have the Commanders at 6.5?
Maybe daring 6.
Yeah, that's not very daring because I have them at 7.
What did you say about a limb last week? That's out being on a limb.
You're so not out on a limb. You're holding the trunk. All right, now we're into the NFC North, aka the Mike Kukla division, with the Detroit Lions. So my favorite one is a continuation of a fact from last year that happened to be true, and this should tell you how much the league wants Detroit to succeed. Jared Goff is a top 6 scoring quarterback indoors, and they only play 3 games outdoors. Here's your funner fact, or more fun fact if you do it grammatically correct. They only have 1 outdoor game until week 16. So they might have the division locked up and the top seed before they even face the 49ers in week 17. They may already be resting starters before they get to their 3rd outdoor game. So if you're playing fantasy, don't rely on it. They're probably not going to be playing in those playoff weeks. So the only major flaw that team really had last year was their pass defense, and they have overhauled the entire cornerback room. So they should be trying to prove it. They got younger talent in there. And for me, the big surprise, I'm expecting a Jameson Williams finally fully healthy going into a year to lead the team in receiving touchdowns. Yes, the team that has Sam Laporta, the team that has Amon-Ra St. Brown, I'm expecting Jameson Williams to have a bunch of touchdowns. So at 10.5, Rob, where do you have the Detroit Lions?
That one outdoor game is at what could possibly be that day the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field, right after Halloween. I am going to reluctantly say 9.
Ooh. That was not what I was expecting. Don.
This is the one I'm going to be daring on.
I thought you were daring on the last one.
This is real daring.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, Don.
Based on the
I
last
just
one, we'll
think
see.
the coach,
Let's go, Don. Let's go.
the coach, the team, how they've
MCD.
been going better and better. 13 and they go to the Super Bowl.
There it is. Now
Steven.
they got close. They've been very, very close. They couldn't have gotten any closer.
They were within a score of San Francisco.
I didn't say they won the Super Bowl. I'm just saying
Oh,
they go to
right.
the Super
No, that's good.
No, we got it. Steven.
MCDC going to do the thing.
So I am piggybacking off of Don, but I'm going 12 wins, but the same exact thought process.
So you've got Detroit in the Super Bowl.
For the record, Mike
Yeah,
said
dude.
13 before Don did, and I had 13 last week. So we're all in agreement, except Rob, that the Lions are going over. And I feel like there's almost like a reverse jinx from Rob in that one. But you mentioned the frozen tundra, so let's go to the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love.
You mean the frozen tundra of Lambeau?
I don't have a button for that.
I was just making sure that I heard that.
Yeah. Jordan Love will be the highest paid player in the NFL and will not be a surprise to anyone expecting a run-first offense this year. He was way, way below average in the first half of the season, but then really put it together from week 9 on, going from a 57% completion percentage to a 69% completion percentage after week 8. Now, that was a lot of going shorter passes, more dink and dunk. LaFleur is a good coach, but they are also going to face an incredibly strong pass pro schedule. So they had to shore up their DBs. Even though they have Jair Alexander, they were still getting beat in a lot of places last year. But they brought on Pro Bowl safeties. Their defense is going to be better, but I think their offense takes a step back. I'm going to go ahead and take the lead on this one. Even though I think they're going to take a step back, I still have them at 12 wins, despite a win total of 9.5. Don, where do you have them?
You said Lions 9.5?
Yes.
I'm going to say 11.
All right.
Those are the top two in that division that year.
Mm-hmm.
The other one's bump.
Steven.
Who does the North face this year?
Rob.
The NFC North faces the AFC East.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. With that case, 3 I got them at 9 and 8.
All right. So just below. Rob.
Yeah.
You know how I like to look at the games, how they schedule them.
Mm-hmm.
They open. Actually, they don't play the whole AFC East. That's weird. They open on the road in that Sao Paulo game. That's a night game. They don't have another primetime game until Thanksgiving. And only 3 of those games are not early games. However, after that, they go 4 in a row in prime time because they go Thanksgiving night, then the following Thursday night, then Sunday night, then Monday night. I'm saying they win 8. I can't find it a 9th or more.
I'm just clarifying. You said 8?
That is correct.
Okay.
I don't believe in Jordan Love at all.
Yeah, I don't either, but I think that defense is going to wind up carrying them to a lot, especially when they get to play teams like the Minnesota Vikings, who are next.
Minnesota!
Honestly, Mike agrees with the 8. I genuinely think Minnesota may just punt on the season. I'm not joking. With J.J. McCarthy having meniscus surgery and being on IR for the year to redshirt him, as we used the term earlier, I think Minnesota might intentionally try to lose. And it's not really going to be an exaggeration since they only had 7 wins, which was an overachieving mark with losing Kirk Cousins and not having Justin Jefferson for a number of games last year. But the craziest stat, they were losing after the first quarter in every single game last year. not even a tie. They were losing in the first quarter in every single game. Now, if you want the positive, though, for fantasy, Justin Jefferson still averaged 22.1 points per game without Kirk Cousins. And Sam Darnold shouldn't be much worse. Will probably be better than some of the replacement level quarterback play last year. So I am still taking his over at 100.5 receptions because they're still going to have to throw it with that garbage defense, even though they have good defensive coaching. But they are not going to be a good team. So with a win total as 6.5, I think they're going to go under at 5. Rob, what do you have them at?
Minnesota has the bye in week 6. Again, tough road to row after that because that's a long season. You don't have a week off from when I'm in Vegas. Now, the upside is I think Detroit's going to do well, and by the time they play in week 18, they're going to be fighting for a spot. But they're going to be playing a team that might be playing to finish because they want to rest their starters. I'm going to say 9.
Okay. Don. 4?
It's 4. He's having some audio.
Right. Steven.
Don, you are on my wavelength tonight. Because, I think...
We're awesome.
You know what I think is going to be crazy is Sam Darnold is actually going to have a great season, and they're going to be that team that is in every game, but only win 4 or 5 games. So I'm going to go 4.
All right. So Don and Steven both go half of our resident Vikings fan who says 8. I only have him at 5. Rob, you have more than that. So you are on the actual limb there.
I'm okay
now.
With it.
The first note I have for Chicago, feel free to interact if you wish. Repeat after me. I will not fall for the Hard Knocks and social media bump. I will not fall for the Hard Knocks and social media bump. Because as many electric plays as Caleb Williams has on social, I have gone through the game film. He has a lot more plays looking like a rookie and making mistakes. What was that, Steven?
Well, you had frozen up for a minute. The thing is when you freeze and you come back, the vocal just catches up to you.
Okay, so I said even though there's a lot of electric plays on social media and within the editing of Hard Knocks, he has a lot of plays where he's making rookie mistakes or trying to do too much, as rookies often do. They won 7 games last year while facing a wildly easy defensive schedule, and their 2024 is going to be facing lesser offenses and tougher defenses. Something that will actually play against them if their defense doesn't wind up carrying a number of games. But my favorite nugget about the Chicago Bears, if you want to be anywhere, when the Seattle Seahawks players found out that Shane Waldron was going to Chicago while being asked in pressers, the players were quoted as thrilled that Shane Waldron was no longer in Seattle and wished Chicago good luck. Most notably, JSN going, ooh, good luck to them. Wait, are we live? Can we edit that? So, Seahawks players not playing the karma game in there. So, Chicago, whether it be the bump or what people expect, have an expected win total at 9.5. I have them just under at 9. Rob, where do you have them?
They've got a weird October. Because they're going to host Carolina. They're going to host Jacksonville. Then they're on the bye, but then they go to Washington, then go to Arizona, and then come home to New England. That's a little kooky for me because they're doing a lot of home and then heading west. Because they do it again when they host Minnesota, then they go to Detroit, and then they go to San Francisco, and then they go back to Minnesota. I'm going to say 7, but I don't feel good about it. because I'm not falling for the rope-a-dope. I love the stories at Hard Knocks. I like this team. They've got some great, strong kids on this team.
Steven.
Oh, the good old Hard Knocks. I love watching it happen. I saw it with the Dolphins. I saw it with the Jets. Oh, that curse is coming. And they will win 6 games. And then everyone can kind of ease off the gas pedal for Caleb Williams.
Done.
Daring on this one, too.
No, don't do that.
They're going to win 8, 1 tie, and 8 losses. So I'm going to add time there.
Who's the tie, Don?
That's a surprise coming up.
No, that's you cheating. That's you popping out.
That's him not looking at the schedule. He's like, what's coming?
I'm giving him credit for that because it popped me. That's all I'm saying.
He's just spinning a wheel on the other side that we can't see. All right, so we got.
I love these shows every year.
So Mike actually ruins our pattern because we had 9, 8, 7, 6, and then he went 4. But I think that's just more of a Viking fan bias. All right, the NFC South.
Oh, my other division. My other division.
Tampa actually won the division last year.
Yeah, but that beeping sound was them backing into it.
Did you read my notes already?
No, I did not. I don't have your notes.
They only had 1 win against top half teams. They literally won a division just beating up on lower people. And the funny thing is, their biggest loss, mentioned earlier, is probably Dave Canales, who seems to be a quarterback whisperer in every sense of the word, who is now charged with making Bryce Young not look like a bust. I still think Baker is okay, but Canales going to Carolina takes their easiest games and makes it more difficult. And when you replace him with Liam Cohen, who has shown success at the college level, but has literally never called plays in the NFL, peaking as a wide receiver coach assistant during the Los Angeles Rams Super Bowl run, I just don't see any hope here. But this division is so bad, I still think they can get to 8 wins with a win total of 7.5. Steven, Tampa Bay Bucks 7.5. Where do you got them?
I got them as a 9-win team, just because of that division alone. And they'll sneak out a couple of other games, but yeah, I have them at 9. There's not too much of a turnover where it's like, okay, they're gonna drop off or whatever. They're just kind of gonna float 8, 9 wins.
Yeah, right in the middle. Don,
Tampa, you said?
Tampa at 7.5.
I'll do 7.
Oh, okay, Rob.
I'm going to say 10 because they're the prettiest girl at an ugly party in this division.
I'm sorry, that one caught me.
They're going to sweep Carolina. They're going to split with New Orleans. They're going to sweep the Falcons. Like their last 5 games, they could go 5-1 in their last 6 games because the only game in those last 6 that I think they could potentially and realistically lose is when they come here 3 days before Christmas. Because I honestly believe that at that point of the season, Dallas is going to be fighting for a playoff spot because of the way that division looks. And they're going to look like gangbusters in those last 6 games. And then the wheels are going to fall off when they get to the playoffs. And that is not my Tampa Bay bias. That is literally, as I'm looking at this, they're at Carolina, which I think we all agree that team's not going to be fun to watch this year. They're going to be hosting the Raiders, then at Dallas, then hosting Carolina and hosting New Orleans.
Speaking of New Orleans, their hope fell off a cliff along with Ryan Ramczyk's health. Carr had 0 time to operate, but the team adjusted in the second half to trying to go to quicker passes, getting in an easier rhythm. And they actually wound up doing pretty well and coming out well ahead. Not as well as I expected, but Ramczyk. So in 2023, they had the easiest schedule, and injury luck. Those are the only reasons that they got dragged to a winning season. The adjusting the short passes improved the game control over anything else so that the defense didn't get scorched. Chris Olave was disappointing, but they won't score enough to win in 2024. So even at 7.5, that's a tough number. Don, where do you have them?
Which team again?
The Saints.
Saints. Nola. Hold on. I'm going to have to say 6.
6 wins for Don.
Yeah.
Steven.
What is their line at?
7.5.
Okay. I'm going to do the over. I'm going to give them 8. I think Spencer Rattler is going to be surprising in the back half of the season. I just can feel it.
So you're saying Spencer Rattler replacing Derek Carr?
Injury or he gets benched or whatever. It's going to be a random thing, but it's going to be a really nice showing. But they're that team though that wins random games. So they might not be the best, but they're going to win 8. Not win the division, but people are going to be like, oh, well, they were fun to watch for a little bit of time, even though no one knows what's going on there.
Rob.
They're going to come out strong. They're going to win their first 2 games. They're going to beat Carolina because they're hosting them. If there's a game that you circle because no matter what the line is, no matter what stats you throw at them, you circle week 2, because if there's one team that New Orleans feels like they have to beat when they play them, it's Dallas. That is a game that I will be circling and I will be watching because both of these teams play up to each other.
And I also feel like it's a rivalry game that only us in the area know.
Correct. I would agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
As much as Dallas, you want to beat Washington. You want to beat, because that to me is the one division where every game is a rivalry game. Both East and both conferences. Because there's so much history between those teams. However, New Orleans is that team because, for those of you that don't know, we have a lot of people in this area that the Saints, they travel to Dallas because they have a lot of fans here. I know a bunch of them. However, win total, I'm taking 7.
I'm so glad I saved.
After those first 2, it's going to do this for them.
Yeah, I'm so glad I saved that because you and I are both at 7. So we're both have it barely under. Steven's the only one that has them over, but we're all kind of grouped at 6, 7, 8. So Don's beef from earlier, the Atlanta Falcons. They are trying to strike now, having the wildly easiest schedule based on offense and defensive expectations and analytics. It is win now, possibly only getting one shot with Kirk Cousins, even though he's coming back from the Achilles. But as we mentioned on last week's episode, he's a bit more of a body thrower. It may not affect him as much. But even if it doesn't work out, I think Penix can get the job done, especially with these players, because last year all they had was a pile of trash behind the line. And I'm still trying to wrap my mind around the fact that they ran Desmond Ridder out 15 times when Taylor Heineke was available. But it's now or never for Drake London and Kyle Pitts, who have both failed to take off, even though the fun stat is that Kyle Pitts has the 3rd most tight end receiving yards before the age of 24, only beaten by Jason Witten and Rob Gronkowski. So he's probably going to be able to get utilized because tight ends tend to get elevated by Kirk Cousins. So I'm looking for a lot of overs on Kyle Pitts because his numbers have been deflated over the last 2 years. So at a win total expectation of 9.5, Steven, where do you have them?
I have them right at 8. I think they're going to be good, but still fresh with the new coach. There's going to be that uncertainty with the fan base, putting extra pressure on the quarterback situation. That's going to be flirting around with the 8-win situation. I don't have them win the division, but they're going to be flirting with it. They could go down to Actually, I think that first game between Tampa and Atlanta, that's going to call the division, because by the end of it, they'll have it all sorted out, and it will be like a half game difference or something.
Rob.
They play New Orleans in week 4 and Tampa Bay in week. Like, they run the entire division 4, 5, and 6. They're hosting New Orleans or hosting Tampa Bay. They're at Carolina. I think they'll sting New Orleans because New Orleans is going to have a little bit of hangover, even though it's 2 weeks later after the Dallas game. I've got them at 6 wins just because of the instability. No, you're good.
The Faith Ford curse this year, 5.
Oh, because you've been to the stadium.
Yeah.
And her favorite player playing for the Chiefs.
Interestingly enough, if you took Rob and Don's numbers and combined them, they would still be less than my prediction of 12.
Woo!
I think Atlanta wipes the division except for one game, and that would be on the road at New Orleans. I think they sweep Tampa, they sweep Carolina, they split with New Orleans, and they take advantage of that soft schedule because they have loaded up on talent. Raheem Morris has a year under his belt. They have hope. I think they're going to win 12. Now, you can't win 12 without a beat. Or I'm sorry?
I said, God bless you, sir.
Yeah, this limb is looking real shaky. But not as shaky as Carolina's everything. I don't think Canales can do enough to truly save Bryce Young, especially in the first year. Maybe year 2, he starts to look like a competent quarterback, but right now he's just the younger version of what Tua was before McDaniel fixed him. The only thing that they did that could really help him outside of Canales is bring in Deontay Johnson, who is a wildly underrated receiver. But you can't fix in a year Bryce Young being bottom 5 in accuracy, yards per attempt, and every other bad statistic, because he was right there with Dak in the bottom of the 48. But the interesting season long is I'm looking at their under more than anything else, because I'm expecting them to have the worst record in the NFL for the 3rd year in a row. So, with a win total of 5.5, I told you that I expect them to be under at 5. Rob, where do you have them?
My penchant for looking at the schedule. They're playing your Giants overseas. They literally have they're not even playing a Thursday night game this year. That's how little faith the league has in this team. And last I knew, everybody had to play on Thursday night.
There have been some interesting adjustments with the NFL scheduling. I have a big one on the next team, but they have also removed certain parameters requiring teams and certain gaps. And that is part of them having the Christmas games. That's the Wednesday games, the Friday game to open the season. Well, the second game of opening the season in Brazil. So there's a lot of that went out the window with this scheduling.
They will get beat by the Raiders because they're on the road. They might get a sting, maybe, late in the season. Their week 18 will be a snoozer at Atlanta. I cannot see this team, and I have family in Charlotte. I love my uncle and my aunt. I love my cousin. I don't see this team winning more than 5 games. I just don't. This is a tough schedule, and oh dear God, it's going to be some bad football.
This is going to be the end of the teaser. Week 5, they take on the Bears. 5 wins, want to end the tie against the Bears on week 5. I just see all 5s, 5.5. There you go. So they'll win 5. The one tie against the Bears week 5. October 6th, and then from there, then they lose the rest. So there we go. 11.
So wait, you're
11,
saying they have 5 wins before they win their first 5 games?
No. They have 5 wins total. 5 wins total, 1 tie, and then 11 losses.
Okay, Steven.
I just don't know how you guys aren't just letting them know that they're going to win 12 games this year. It's the worst of first all the time.
You cannot be serious right now.
I'm
not. No, I definitely have them winning 2 games, not 12. 2.
Just 2. Yeah, that sounds about right.
2.
Okay, I mentioned earlier that I know which team the NFL hates the most this year. And if you've followed the pattern, you know which team I'm going to talk about. But I want to say this first part. The regular season for this team is 120 days long. So from their first game to their last regular season game is 120 days. You heard me mention about rest advantage before. Rest advantage would be positive if they have a bye week and the other team does not. So they get an extra week to rest up and prepare. Negative rest advantage would be the team on the opposite side. This team we're talking about has a negative 37-day rest disadvantage in 120 days. That means they are at a disadvantage at least 31% of their time, and that's before you take into account that last year was the first year that the San Francisco 49ers stayed healthy.
And plus you put the international piece of it too.
Oh, yeah. So they are going to be traveling massive yardage, and they are playing so many games at a disadvantage in rest and preparation. Ayuk has the headlines, but Trent Williams is the real problem. Deebo Samuel posted yesterday the biggest note about why Trent Williams is important. In 683 dropbacks, the man allowed 1 sack. Brandon Ayuk's a great receiver, but if Brock Purdy's already on his butt, it don't matter. So to give you an idea, in the games just last year, when Brock Purdy had Trent Williams blocking for his blindside, he had 28 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. In the games that he didn't, 3 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Trent Williams not being on this team is going to hurt them. Now, I am very concerned about CMC also getting hurt after his massive workload getting through a season last year, because that's been a rarity for his career. Plus, you add the Madden curse if you believe in it. I don't particularly, but heavy workloads do worry me. And with an expected win total of 11.5 and me expecting them to struggle to this number, I still think they win the division with 11 wins. So at 11.5 wins, Steven, where do you got the Niners?
I'm gonna ride with you on that one. I do think they break down though before the playoffs. I think what happened to the Dolphins last year happens to the 49ers this year. They just get depleted by the end of the season, but they win 11 games.
I want to clarify. I have them at 11, and what I think is their peak. Okay, if the number gets inflated by certain fans, be sure I am putting racks on the under for San Francisco's wins. Now, I want to save Rob on this for a particular reason. So, Don, 11.5 is the number.
I'm going to go 10.
At 10. So, the reason I wanted to save Rob is because I want to highlight it again. The best prediction we had all of last year was Rob Irvin in the preseason calling the Super Bowl matchup, which included the San Francisco 49ers. You have been riding hard for the Niners for multiple years now. At 11.5, where do you have them?
I would like to first self-correct. When I was talking international, I was talking about Carolina.
Oh.
I didn't hear your prediction, so I thought you were still talking about Carolina. This team will not make the Super Bowl this year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that they'll win the division, but I've got them at 8 wins.
8.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Yeah, I wanted to bump up another team in this division to beat the Niners, but I just don't see it from anybody.
Their home stretch from Thanksgiving week on, you're at the frozen tundra. You're at Buffalo. You could come out of that 0-2.
Mm-hmm.
You're hosting Chicago in the late set, so you're giving them the opportunity to be rested.
Mm-hmm.
You're against the Rams at home. That's Thursday night after playing Chicago 4 days earlier, which could leave them banged up a little bit, as we talked about with that defense. Then you're at Joe Robbie with a 10-day layoff, maybe. It's going to depend on which Miami you see. Is Miami fighting for a playoff spot, or are they resting their starters? Then you're hosting the Lions and then at Arizona. That is a tough stretch outside of the Cardinals, but it's still in division. This team is not going to have what I felt the cakewalk they had last year to get to where they were. This is going to be a tough season, and it's going to require a lot of perseverance from this team. And then you've also got the week of Halloween, the other game everybody always circles, and it's Dallas, San Francisco.
Yep.
But they've got them at home at least.
So I was starting to transition, saying I wanted to find a team. I wanted to find a team to put over the Niners. I just can't because there's such massive holes, and there is no such larger hole this year than trying to replace all-time great Aaron Donald anchoring the Rams defense. They have an expected win total of 8.5, and it shocks me, especially when you look at with Kupp and Nakua are both quality players, but they've never been healthy at the same time. Stafford struggled and just hyper-targeted whoever was healthy, and this year looks no different with Nakua already dealing with injuries. They have an older, worried line. Their depth is not great after Demarcus Robinson, who is a decent wide receiver 3, and especially with the news that McVay, who has always been a good play caller, is going to have his RB1 returning punts. Kyren Williams already doesn't stay healthy. They're going to also play 7 of the top 10 pass defenses. That's going to try and make them run heavy with an old O-line and a running back who is returning punts.
Yeah, that was
Blake
a strange.
Corum's not good enough to pick up that slack
because he wants him to have more touches. That was a strange logic to me. Because aren't the touches on punt returns? Isn't that a separate stat?
Well, I think he was using the term touches of just getting the ball in his hands versus touches in the traditional sense, which is a reception or a carry.
And how much does the new punt rule play into that?
There is no new punt rule. It's a
kickoff. It's kickoffs.
Yeah, the kickoff's an entirely separate deal.
I'd like to see them do it with punts too.
Yeah, maybe if they can figure out a way to do that, I'm excited for the kickoff rule. But with a Los Angeles Rams win total of 8.5, Rob, where do you have them?
Definitely not over. They could realistically, with a bye in week 6, they could realistically go into the bye with 1 win. You're at Detroit on Sunday Night Football. Then you're at Arizona. You're hosting the 49ers. Then you're at Chicago in the early game. And then you're hosting Green Bay. Like you said earlier, that's a lot of miles. They could conceivably have 1 win before the bye. Now, they could come off the bye hosting Vegas and win. But it doesn't get much easier when you're hosting Minnesota, at Seattle, hosting Miami, at New England, which that could be a game that could reach up and bite you. Because you're hosting Miami on Monday Night Football, then going to New England for the early game, which we talk about that all the time on this show. They could get 6, but it ain't going to be pretty. So and I like this team. Yeah, I like this team.
Don, where do you have them at?
No.
I have it 5.
5. Okay, Steven.
All right, sorry. I had to unmute myself. I have them at 6 wins as well.
Interestingly enough, we all have them at 5, Don, or 6, which is the rest of us. So, another team that I wanted to put up higher because I really like the Ryan Grubb hiring and bringing his pass-heavy scheme from the University of Washington right down the road to the Seattle Seahawks. I'm expecting huge strides for DK Metcalf and JSN. Tyler Lockett getting older. I think he's going to be more of an underneath guy when they need. Kenneth Walker is finally healthy, and he is an awesome running back. Zach Charbonnet is going to be a great pass catcher in that offense as well. But with the Seattle Seahawks, first year without Pete Carroll, and a win total of 7.5, I do like them improving and getting to 8, but that's where I have them capping. Steven.
9. I'm riding with the 9.
Nine.
I think the change of guards is actually going to be better for some of these younger players. That it's going to get them going a little bit. So I have them at 9.
Nice. Don.
Zimmerman. I can take 9.
9. Rob.
I think this team wins the division. They get 10 out of it.
Nice. So Rob did what I was hoping I could, but I couldn't bring myself to. Good on you. All right, now the Arizona Cardinals. I am actually surprised they have a 7.5 win total. But the true limb I go out for on them, I think Kyler Murray is going to be a top 5 quarterback this year, if only because the defense is Budda Baker and a whole lot of replacement level talent. And they also play the toughest schedule for defenses by a very large margin. The offenses are not facing a lot of tough defenses outside of their division, but the defenses that the offenses the defense will face are very, very quality. One of the big things we have with the NFC West is they're traveling coast to coast a lot this year. So I kind of think they're all going to be depressed. And they face 6 of the top 13 offenses just in the first 8 games. Arizona's offense, I think, will click, but their defense is... What's that term you like to use, Steven? While you're muted?
Butt cheeks.
Thank you, sir.
I thought you were going.
Sorry?
I thought he was going with the other one.
The booty cheeks?
No. With the which today is in my neighborhood.
Garbage.
There we go.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, but for those first 8 games, I am looking at the overs on every single one of them. So with a win total of 7.5, Don, kick us off. Where do you got the Arizona Cardinals finishing?
6.
6 wins. Steven.
They're a 5-win team. I agree with you on Kyler Murray. I think he's going to show out and be great, but it's a 5-win team sitting there.
Rob.
This will be the Chicago White Sox of the NFL. They get 3. They get 3. And the worst game to watch the entire season will be the Arizona Cardinals hosting the Jets. It'll be worse than watching them host New England.
I think that'll actually be a fun game they won't win. I have, just because of the offense, we all have them under, but I have them barely under at 7 wins. So I think the offense is going to carry them further than it will have to, but the defense is going to let them down a lot of weeks. So now that we've wrapped up our NFC, I want to do one last thing. Rob, you have the floor because you're the one that nailed it last year. What's your Super Bowl matchup?
I would like to go last on that. I would like to take Champions Advantage.
Okay. Champions Advantage. Totally acceptable. Don.
So I said Detroit.
Yes, you did.
I'm going to be real daring. Jacksonville.
For the 3rd year in a row,
There.
Don defaults to Jacksonville. And he said,
I love it.
Here's my favorite part of this. He said that Detroit will make the Super Bowl but not win. So are you calling the Jacksonville Jaguars over the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl?
That one, I'm pleading the 5th on that one.
No,
you're picking
it, bro. You got it.
I'll say
No, you missed it. You missed it. That was his tie.
3 years
No,
ago, I said, hey, they won 8 and they instead of 2. I just say, yep. Mr. Khan finally gets that trophy.
I hope he doesn't.
Where is the Super Bowl this year?
I'm still trying to wrap my mind around Jacksonville being the Super Bowl champion right now. Because as we know, a certain company likes to give belts to champions. And I can see a reason that doesn't happen. So, Steven, who do you have in the Super Bowl?
It's in New Orleans, by the way.
Who is my Super Bowl pick?
Yes.
Oh, God.
February 9th at the Superdome.
Who over who?
I'm going to have Detroit coming out of the NFC. I really ride with Detroit. And I have Pittsburgh coming out of the AFC.
But who wins?
Pittsburgh.
All right.
Pittsburgh over Detroit.
Yes.
Now, since I am typing, Rob, would this be an acceptable level for you to take?
I would like to hear yours first.
I
And by the way, love the Super Bowl logo this year.
Sorry?
The Super Bowl logo, because they're in New Orleans, that's a good-looking logo.
Well, share it. Pull it up.
I have to do it. I'm on a different laptop. But while you talk while I'm doing that.
So I think this year is going to be really weird. I don't like the fact that I am right in line with everybody else on the NFC, but we're all Detroit fans. And I just can't get away from Baltimore. But I'm giving Detroit the win over Baltimore.
Detroit won't have to worry about Baltimore because Lamar Jackson's going to Dak Prescott in the playoffs and lose in the first round.
Oh, I don't think he will with an actual functioning running game.
You know that's going to be.
I wanted to say the Jets, but I couldn't pull the trigger with Aaron. I'm just saying.
The Jets are going to jet.
All right, Rob.
This is another instance where I can't find a good size of the logo. I tried to blow it up, but it starts to get pixelated. But I can share it with you at this time. This is, and I like this background on this logo too. I think you guys are going to dig this. Here you go.
Oh yeah,
it's a good looking logo.
Oh no, it's
Niners.
The Chiefs and it's the Chiefs and the Seattle Sea Chickens.
So here's my thing. From an AFC standpoint, I am subscribing to the theory that you're the champs until somebody tells you otherwise. And I don't think anybody in the AFC is going to tell the Chiefs otherwise this year. The NFC, and by the way, Chiefs win. The NFC, I am going to apologize to Don because I giggled earlier when he said the Lions were going to the Super Bowl. The more I'm looking at the NFC, it doesn't necessarily attest to the greatness of the Lions.
Well, that's because no one in the NFC has kneecaps anymore.
But it could be that whole prettiest girl at the ugly party thing again. I think they get there, but they're going to lose to the Chiefs just because the Chiefs are the new Patriots. Like, they're that team.
But here's what I like the best is we all have Detroit. We all have Detroit.
We all laughed earlier, but we're all like, you know what? He's wrong.
But my question is Detroit the pretty girl at the ugly party when they just are ugly? It's the city of Detroit. I mean, they're the ugly girl at the pretty party that gets noticed. They take off the glasses and they're the attractive one.
I'm not going to say the Chiefs run roughshod over them. They'll be competitive. But Kansas City is just that strong. You guys know how much I love the Super Bowl. I'm still going to watch it, but I just don't see this going any other way.
I just can't wait to see where we're right, where we're wrong, and get to football. And we want to throw out MVP predictions? I think we're already done.
Dak Prescott's winning MVP this year. Mark my words.
Hell no.
Yes, he is.
It's out there now. You can't be back.
I'm not.
Somebody's sucking up.
No, I'm not. No, because he's gonna do this in spite of Jerry, and he didn't get his contract. He almost won it last year. He's gonna win it this year, and then he's gonna take his talents elsewhere.
I don't have an opinion on that because stopped rooting for the Cowboys when Emmett left and
I hate the Cowboys, and I'm saying a lot by saying Dak's winning MVP.
All I know is Sundays are about to get so much better because it's almost time, boys. We had a college kickoff last weekend. We got a lot of college this weekend.
Rob,
prime right now.
Just be prepared tomorrow or Saturday. Just be prepared Saturday. Your phone will get a text message.
But you know what? And I'm going to say this, and I'm not afraid to say it. I respect the fact that both teams are coming out to play in week 1.
No cupcakes. I like it.
Yeah, neither one of these teams is playing Sister Mary's College for the Blind. It's Florida and it's Miami. Let's go. We're going to get beat by 1,000. But I appreciate that we're just diving into the deep end of the pool. I love it. I'm here for it. You know, I've got
the 0-1 club.
Dude, I've got no expectations from this team this year. None. Zero. Zilch. Nada. Nil. If we can at least be competitive in the border war, or we could at least be competitive in the last game of the year with Florida State. Outside of that, and I got to start calling it the world's biggest cocktail party. But I grew up with that phrase. We just lost Don. I don't know what happened.
Don.
He was waiting to say Trevor Lawrence for MVP.
But he might have had something going on. I know that there was
Also
something
true.
going on. I will be watching because especially in the SEC this year, the SEC is going to be bonkers because we have 114 teams. 80% of them are going to be competitive.
And 80% of them might be in the playoff.
Yeah, and we got 12 teams in the playoffs this year, which I'm here for. This is going to be a great year for football overall, and I'm not afraid to say it. Also wearing my wonderful shirt that Alex got me. One of my favorite shirts. I did see that they're selling hats. I think it's on New Era. It might be Fanatics that have the old school U up here and the
F logo. Yeah.
I love that
really logo.
Well, I had a shirt, and there's actually a picture of me in the Fort Lauderdale News from freshman year band camp, and I'm wearing a shirt with that logo on it. And I wore that shirt until I physically could not wear it anymore because I love that logo. Because you've got the gator that's just like got his snout in the air on the top, and then you got the state on the bottom. Oh, I love that. I love that logo so much. But yeah, boys, it's almost time, and I am ready. Every year I'm like, I don't remember the last time I was this excited for football. But last offseason felt like it went like that. This year, offseason felt like it took 9.5 years. And I don't know why.
Yeah, it just took forever.
But I'm ready. And we're not going to have a break in Hard Knocks, which I'm this Hard Knocks, this is the most I've been excited for Hard Knocks, even counting Miami being in it, which was great last year. This is the most excited I've been for Hard Knocks, and I can't remember the last time because we're getting an entire division, and I love it. And it's a division I think is going to be probably the most intriguing to watch this year, based on what you gentlemen have brought to the conversation, which is why I very much look forward to these two shows every year. Because number one, it gives Alex the shine he deserves.
Let's not get carried away there, but I appreciate it.
As much as I love football, you talk about how my pop culture knowledge is up there. You challenge me every year when we talk football, whether it's on this show, whether it's us hanging out at the house and, laughing at 1 week of fantasy, and I still declare shenanigans. We have our fantasy draft next week, and we will be updating you week by week on how Alex and I do in our league. So keep an eye on that. Plus, we've got the Pick'em League that we do every year, so be prepared for that.
I was waiting to throw that into the plugs.
That Alex does such a great job keeping up with for us, because we'll do that. And then we've also got, we'll have our March Madness next year and the whole things. And, we're almost back, boys. And I'm ready. Steven, what do you want to plug before we go?
I want to plug the magic of Amazon kitchen finds. Cheese grater is intact. I got a steamer. Everything's good. Okay, I'm plugging that, and that is all.
I am issuing you a challenge when it comes to cheese graters, because there's a way. I want to say it's Lunchbox's website has a cheese grater that has Shredder's head on the top of it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I just got the Amazon Basics that is the little crank thing.
I think Jen got the one that's the shredder that goes this way. That's got the little plastic piece that you put everything in and it does everything right. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
God bless technology. All right. Over there. We have to like lean. Otherwise, I'm out of the frame. Hit that QR code if you're on the video. Remember, coming up in just a few weeks, go ahead and get on it now. Sunset Lounge DFW on Patreon. We're going to be there. We're very excited. Visit our website, www.theclubhousepodcast.com, and the soundboard's not working and I got to fix it. That's where Reviews Friday will be back next week. We didn't have anything new to review this week, but we've got stuff at least 2 out of the next 3 weeks. A couple of movies I've already seen and I'm very excited to share my thoughts with. Follow us on your social medias, everything except Twitter, X-Twitter, and TikTok. Everything else is The Clubhouse Podcast. All 3 words in that order, or you will wind up somewhere else. Those 2 are Clubhouse Show, just because we couldn't get that on those. You can follow me on all of your social medias if you would like. Everything is Yes That Rob Irvin. That is spelled ERVIN.
I am Vexploit on all social media. Look out for that Pigskin Pick'em contest. We wind up doing prizes and everything if you wind up beating us for the season. So far, we got 2 years where we haven't been beaten. So I do have some back catalog of prizes. So this is going to be a big year. But more importantly, if you want to help out the show, check out that URL if you're watching it on the bottom of the screen at prowrestlingtees.com/thecheappopcast. A lot of different color options, a lot of different design options. If you are an artist and want to contribute, you can reach out to me at alex@theclubhousepodcast.com.
He was here just a little while ago. If you want us to come do a live show, we love doing live remote shows and hanging out with the Empire. That's Don. You can email him, don@theclubhousepodcast.com. We do want to encourage you, even though we can't make it, we want to encourage you to go to the It Came From Texas Film Festival coming up the weekend of September 13th. Some great Westerns and documentaries. Oh, there's Ryan. How are you?
Mm-hmm. Steven was moving the microphone to try and block.
That's because of the shirt, I think. We can't hear you, dude.
You're muted.
Sorry. Whatever. We're about to have dinner. I know we're closing out, and she just came in from her show, and so she didn't hear the Dak Prescott thing, and she's wearing a Dak shirt. So
I noticed the moment she walked by. She knows it's coming.
Yeah. I think that's how I tried to move the mic.
You can email me if you like questions, comments, concerns. Tell me to go pound sand. I am Rob at theclubhousepodcast.com. Charlotte Marshall's on Pinterest because we are morally obligated to say that. Circle December 14th on your calendar. More news coming up on that later. Our normal show every Thursday night, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Did I do that right? Yeah. Is your one-stop shop for all things sports, entertainment, pop culture, and pro wrestling. We will be back to Abnormal next week. So until next time, for Alex, for Don, for Steven, for the Empire, I'm Rob. Clubhouse is closed. Hey, maybe Brittany Palmer to be part of the Patreon. It'd be awesome.